Welcome to the Sports Report. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, your host for this program that's all about the world of sports in Vermont and beyond. I'm on set with producer Nathaniel Wilson and camera op Brian Stevenson, and we're joined by our awesome team in the control room, Mike Dunn, Kyle Ambusk, and Dave Rice. And we want to hear from those of you watching live on YouTube. Have questions or comments during the show? Let us know in our live chat. And for those of you listening via radio or podcast, we encourage you to check out our live stream each Monday at 2 p.m. on the Sports Report YouTube channel. You can also share your questions, your comments, and voice memos at sports@vermontpublic.org. Today on the program, we'll feature interviews with Olympians Jack Young and Julia Kern, and we'll also discuss last night's big game, the Super Bowl, as well as the halftime show. That's coming up in about 20 minutes. So if you have thoughts about the Seahawks' big win or Bad Bunny's performance, get them in the chat now. We would love to hear from you. If you want to hear more about what's happening in Vermont sports, you're in the right place. It's time for a Winter Olympics edition of the High Five. It's a segment where we take a look back at 5 of the most important stories in Vermont sports from the last week. And up first, Team USA's biathlon mixed relay placed 14th in the 4x6 yesterday. The team features Margie Freed, a UVM graduate and member of Craftsbury Green Racing Project, as well as Deidre Irwin and Maxime Germain, who served with the Vermont Air National Guard. France took gold in this event, Italy brought home the silver, and Germany took the bronze.
Jessie Diggins and Julia Kern competed in the cross-country women's skiathlon on Saturday. Diggins took 8th, while Kearns placed in 24th. Sweden's Frida Karlsson and Ebba Andersson secured the gold and silver, while Norway's Heidi Wang took the bronze. The pair of U.S. skiers are back in action tomorrow, competing in the Women's Sprint Classic.
Up at number 3, Mac Forehand is qualified for the men's free ski slope style final. Forehand placed 6th in the qualifying on Saturday. 3 U.S. skiers are in the top 10. Alex Hall and Connor Ralph will join Mac, and they'll compete in the final tomorrow morning. Forehand, by the way, is a 3-time X Games medalist in slopestyle and placed 7th in last month's games.
Ryan Cochran-Siegel placed 18th in the men's downhill final on Saturday. He finished just over 2 seconds slower than gold medalist Switzerland's Franjo van Almen. Cochran-Siegel has one more chance at a medal in this Winter Olympic Games on Wednesday, when he'll take part in the men's Super G, the event that he took home the silver in during the 2022 Beijing Winter Games.
And finally at number 5, 16-year-old snowboarder Jess Perlmutter missed the cut to compete in today's women's snowboard big air final. Perlmutter finished 23rd in qualifying Sunday with a score of 132.25. Her next event is the women's slopestyle. That'll be next week on Monday. And that's this week's High Five. We'll be right back with interviews with Olympians Jack Young and Julia Kern. Stay with us. And welcome back to the Sports Report. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, and remember, we're going to be having a live chat discussion with you coming up about the Super Bowl in about 10, 15 minutes or so. So get in on the live chat. Let us know your thoughts about the big game yesterday, including that halftime show with Bad Bunny. Cross-country skier Jack Young grew up in Jay, Vermont. The former North Country Union High School multi-sport star skied for Colby College in Maine before joining the Olympic team, and we had a chance to speak with him before he traveled to Italy for the games. Jack, again, thank you so much for the time. I know you're busy training. It's an exciting moment for you. I want to talk first about sort of your journey to get to where you are now. You played a lot of sports in high school: football, baseball, track and field. How did all those sports help in any way with your cross-country skiing ability and your love for that sport?
If we're talking about like the technical side of things, not much, but playing a lot of ball sports obviously helps with just like being a better, well-rounded athlete, which I think is one of my biggest strengths in cross-country skiing. I think I'm a little bit more agile than your average World Cup skier, and I think that comes from playing a lot of different sports in high school. But then on kind of more the mental side of things, I think playing some, although it's Vermont D2 football, but even just like playing high school football anywhere will get you to play in some relatively high pressure situations, even though it's like, it's Vermont high school football, but it's still football. So you're feeling a lot more nerves in those situations than almost any level of cross-country skiing other than the absolute highest, which I think has helped me at this level.
You know, I'm wondering about that shift, though, from like team sports like baseball, football, very much team, oriented sports to an individualistic sport like skiing. Was that a difficult shift for you to make at all?
Yes and no. I quite enjoy individual sports. I really like that when I succeed, it's just me who succeeded, and when I fail, it's just me who failed, not necessarily like letting down the entire team when you fail. But also, there's just something so special about winning together that you kind of lose when you go into individual sports, and you miss some of the camaraderie that comes along with that.
I want to ask about some athletes that maybe have inspired you over the years. I read somewhere that you're a big fan of the Celtics and Jaylen Brown in particular. Is that right?
I am. I forget where I said that, but I think I should have said Tom Brady and David Ortiz, because I'm a much bigger Patriots fan and Red Sox fan than I am Celtics fan. But yeah, Jaylen Brown definitely inspires me. He's just the definition of a really good professional athlete with a good head on his shoulders. Smart guy, knows what's going on the court, and really cool to see him this year performing with Tatum gone,
Amazing what he's been doing, helping to carry that team to where they are now when folks thought they wouldn't even have a shot at the playoffs, David Ortiz, I'm guessing because he's Mr. Clutch, maybe the greatest clutch hitter in the history of baseball, at least in Red Sox history.
Exactly. I mean, I had his fat head in my room growing up. Like, he was the guy for me. It's like I still get chills whenever I am bored and go on YouTube and watch like greatest clutch moments like David Ortiz of all time, or like rewatch like 4 Days in October. He's my favorite professional athlete of all time.
What has the support been like from folks back in Jay, Vermont, where you're from, and really all over Vermont? You got a lot of people rooting for you.
Yeah, it's just been crazy. I think my favorite people to hear from are my friends in high school who I haven't talked to in a while, especially my teammates, like my football and baseball teammates in high school who I haven't talked to since we graduated. It's just fun to think about how much like sport like shaped our lives back then, and I'm still competing in it, and it's kind of fun to almost share that success with teammates that I've been competing with for some of them half my life, and that's a lot of fun.
That must be a great feeling to speak with those folks that that you played with. You go through the wars together on the field, and now they're here cheering you on from afar as you compete in the Olympic Games. Give us a sense of what your schedule is like. Do you know when your first race is? How many races you're going to be doing? I mean, what's it like for you going forward?
So funny enough, I'll be doing either 0 or 1 races at the Olympics.
I hope it's 1.
I hope it's 1 too. But that'd be on February 10th. So for all intents and purposes, I have to assume I'm going to start. There's no like half-assing, obviously, the training coming up into that race. And it's like, if I don't start, I don't start. That's not the end of the world. I'm still young. It's really early. And to be honest, it's a classic sprint in the Olympics, and I'm much stronger in skate. I wouldn't have incredibly high expectations for my result there anyway. I'd hope to make a breakthrough. Don't get me wrong. But it's not crushing. The idea of not starting is not crushing to me, because I know I'm not like quite there yet on the classic side of things.
And, Jack, even if you don't, this experience, I have to imagine, maybe that hasn't quite sunk in yet, but this experience of being an Olympian, being over there, being part of the U.S. men's team, is that the reward itself, really?
Oh my God, especially being part of this men's team.
Yeah, what's that dynamic like? You're just starting to meet some of these guys, or maybe you've met a lot of them before. What's that experience been like, getting to know your teammates?
It's fun because I've known of all of these guys, and I really got to know all of them last year with my first like full season on the World, well, not full, but almost full season on the World Cup. And it's like I've idolized so many of these guys and like really put them up on a pedestal. And it's really cool just to feel like I'm just friends with them now. Like, it's just like the dynamic of the relationship has changed so much over the last 2 years. And it's funny to think of like the regard I held some of these guys 2 years ago, and now I just feel like we're friends, training partners, and competing together at the same level is pretty crazy.
At the time you and I were speaking, we're only about a week or two away from the Olympics. I got to ask, Jack, you seem like such a chill guy. How are you keeping yourself so composed? It's amazing. You look relaxed, confident, calm. Is that how you're feeling inside?
Uh, More or less. I mean, the uncertainty of the start is definitely eats away at me sometimes. But I've had an amazing season so far to get me here. I achieved the goal of qualifying for the Olympics, and I'm really excited for the experience, regardless of what it holds. So yeah, I am. I'm feeling confident, even if there's no racing to apply the confidence to.
You have anything you want to say to the folks back in Vermont who are rooting you on?
Enjoy the snow. I'm terribly bummed to be missing what seemed like one of the best winters of all time so far in Vermont. So like, go get some extra turns on the mountains without me, and yeah, I'll try to rip it up here in return.
I think a lot of folks are going to be inspired by that very message. Jack Young, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us on the Sports Report. I really appreciate it, and best of luck.
Thank you.
I cannot tell you how much I want him to compete tomorrow. Again, folks, you're watching us on a Monday. We are live on YouTube, and Jack may ski tomorrow. There are 5 members of that cross-country ski team, but only 4 will compete in tomorrow's event. Let's hope that Jack Young is one of them. You heard Jack mention that he's a big New England Patriots fan. Of course, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl in just about 10 minutes or so. So if you've got thoughts on that game, how the Pats did, could they have done better? Maybe you want to talk about Bad Bunny in the halftime show. Get in on the live chat right now on YouTube. Send us your thoughts, ask questions, make a comment, and we'd love to talk to you about it. We'll be doing that in just about 10 minutes or so. Cross-country skier Julia Kern hails from Massachusetts, but the former Stratton Mountain ski team member is now a full-time Vermonter. And here's a conversation we had with her shortly before she traveled to Italy for the Winter Olympics. Julia Kern, welcome to the Sports Report. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Mitch, for having me here. I'm excited to be here.
This is your second time around with the Olympics, though, not your first rodeo, so to speak. You competed at the Beijing Games in 2022. Which races are you competing in this year for these Olympics?
I don't exactly know yet. Starts get named as the games go on, but we have 6 events, and I'm hoping to race anywhere from 3 to 6 events, I think, if things go my way.
Yeah, and you don't really care. You're just compete. You can't wait to compete, right? That's what I imagine you're excited about.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And of course, there's certain races that I'm really shooting for, like are my priority. but any opportunity I get, I will want to take it.
Would one of those be the individual sprint freestyle? Because I know that was one of your strongest finishes previously.
Yes, the classic sprint is one of my focuses, and the other one is the team sprint if I'm named to the team. That is an event that Jesse Diggins and I have medaled in the last two world championships. So I'm really excited for that event, and I think it's just also really fun to compete in and to watch. I think it's our most exciting event. I might be a little biased, but I think it's really cool. You have the team aspect of it, but you're also pushing really hard, and there's also action and sometimes crashes and chaos. So I think it has all the elements of skiing in it.
Hopefully no crashes and chaos for you, but I understand that point of it. That can be exciting for those watching at home. Yeah. Speaking of Jessie Diggins, you have some great history with her. A world championship bronze alongside her in 2023, and in 2025, a silver medal. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. And I think what's so special about teaming up with her is that we've trained together now for 11 years. We're on the SMST2 team, which is based in Stratton, Vermont, and we've done so many workouts together. So I think it's really special to then be racing together in the winter, knowing that we were pushing each other all summer and had each other's back. And you feel like you're racing for a lot more, not just for each other, but for our team, for Vermont, for our home communities, and that's really special.
Do you still feel a connection to Vermont from your time at Stratton Mountain?
I definitely do, and I actually moved up to Richmond, Vermont last summer. So I've been in the Burlington area now for a year and a half, and also going to Dartmouth. My parents had a place in Fairleigh, Vermont, so there's a lot of places in Vermont that feel like home to me now, and I would consider Vermont definitely my home. And I'm building communities all around Vermont, but it's not that big, and especially in the ski community, it's pretty small. And it just has such a special place in my heart. And I was just home for 2 weeks, and it was just a dream to be home, skiing on natural snow, seeing it be such an amazing winter. It just filled up my cup with all the good things before heading into the Olympics.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I want to talk a little bit about the conditions for the races you'll be doing in Italy. What do you know, if anything, about the course conditions, and what are you hoping for? What's your sort of ideal conditions for what you do?
I'm not sure we know yet. I think what we've seen historically at this venue is it's going to be man-made snow primarily, and quite transformed. So pretty fast and abrasive, potentially icy conditions. That being said, our previous world championships in the recent years have all been in total slushy conditions, and it just seems when it's a championship, the weather really changes. So I think we've been preparing for it all, expecting everything from a bit of snow to man-made to potentially warm conditions.
From everything I've read about your style of skiing, you're a fast skier. That's kind of your strength is speed. Is that right?
Yeah, speed and power. So even in a distance race, if there is gliding and there is some power element to it, those distance races have gone really well for me. When we're moving fast and I have breaks and recovery in between, then I can push with power and speed again. And last year I had a personal best in a distance race there as well. So that makes me really excited and encouraged that the terrain there could suit me well.
How are you feeling about things generally?
I'm really excited. Of course, nervous. I have that nervous, excited energy. I have had races under my belt, so I roughly know where I am, but the Olympics are always different. Anything can happen. But I'm also just so excited to be back in Italy. I love racing there. Certainly.
And about your expectations, I mean, obviously, everybody would love to win a medal. I mean, that would be, the goal. Do you, though, I'm thinking about your approach. Like, do you think if I can get better than my personal best, and then whatever happens after that, that's gravy? Or are you thinking, you know what, I want to shoot for a medal. I want to do the very best I can to get bronze, silver, or gold?
I definitely have medal aspirations. I think especially in the team sprint, like that is a big focus of mine if I'm on that team. And we've done it at world championships, so we know it's possible, which is a really exciting place to be. Like, pressure is a privilege, and I think like that I'm going for that, and that's definitely the goal. There's so many factors involved in skiing, and so my goal is to like control what I can. And like, I think I'll be proud at the end of the day, not because of the result on the paper, but if I feel like I skied to the best of my ability that day and I gave it my all, like that's what I'm going to be proud of. And I think that's all you can control, because you can have the race of your life. And if someone's just having a race of their life too, like there's just so many factors. And I think it's important to also have goals outside of results, because in the end, that's sport. And if you just hang your personality and your self-worth on results, that's a very slippery slope.
One more question. You've been doing this skiing competitively since you were really 17 years old. What is it about your sport that you love the most? What drives you?
Feeling progress drives me, feeling like I'm bettering myself every day and every year. And then just being outside and getting to see incredible places and push my body and see what is possible and connecting with people. Like I'd love nothing more than going on an outdoor adventure with people, with friends, or getting someone outside for the first time. I think there's so much beauty and yeah, just you can just take a deep breath when you're outside in nature, moving your body. And I just love that feeling. And the fact that I get to do that as my job is such a gift. And I think the best job in the world.
Well, Julia Kern, we wish you the very best of luck in these Olympic Games. You've got a lot of people in Vermont rooting for you, and I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to speak with us on the Sports Report.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you to the Vermont community for cheering so loud for us and supporting us along the way.
She's so awesome. And you know what? I think she's got a really great shot at a medal, especially in the team sprint. We're going to find out. All right, coming up next, we're going to be talking all about Super Bowl 60. And folks, right now, the live chat is not populated. It's making me very sad personally. Please get in on the live chat on YouTube, because you don't want to hear just me talk about the Super Bowl. You're watching the Sports Report. Welcome back to the Sports Report. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, and it's time to talk about, for New England Patriots fans, it's a sad thing to talk about. The Super Bowl is in the books. Super Bowl 60 yesterday did not go the Patriots' way. They lost 29-13 to the Seattle Seahawks. It wasn't even really that close, if we're being honest about it. I'm joined now here in the studio by our producer, Nathaniel Wilson. And, you know, I want to bring somebody else out here, because I feel especially like last week when we were previewing this game, we didn't get enough Patriots love. So, Brian Stevenson, could you come out from behind the camera where you are now and join us in this discussion? I'd love to have your thoughts on this as well. And yeah, Brian's going to make his way out of here. And folks, those of you watching live on YouTube, please join the chat. We want to get your thoughts on this. If you have questions about the game, if you have questions or comments about the halftime show with Bad Bunny, we want to hear your thoughts on that. We're going to get into all of this right now. And here is Brian Stevenson, our camera operator, who is joining us today. Big New England Patriots fan, right?
Big fan.
Right, Brian?
Big fan, Mitch.
How you feeling today?
Big fan of the Patriots, big fan of you, big fan of the show already. Thrilled to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you here, but how are you feeling after last night's game?
Not great, Mitch.
Yeah.
Not great. Not the most fun I've had watching a Super Bowl. And I'm lucky enough to have watched quite a few.
Uh-huh.
You know, the ups and downs, but I can't say it was the most painful. I think we could obviously think about others in the past that were a little more painful.
Yeah, I think close losses are more painful than total blowouts like that. The Pats were just never in this game.
I mean, you put it well last week, you know, when making our picks, you know, we knew what we wanted in our hearts.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think our brains were telling us other things.
Yeah.
I don't think we've come into a Super Bowl, as big of underdogs this year, since back in 01, 02.
I think the point spread was something like 5 points in favor of Seattle.
4.5.
I would have said it was, should have been larger than that. Look, Seattle was the better team on paper. They deserved to win. They played a great game. Their defense was just unstoppable. There was 6 times Drake May got sacked in this game.
Almost 7.
Almost
But again,
7.
they said, actually, oh, no, it was just like incomplete pass, strip sack. It wasn't pretty. It was
we're
on
nitpicking
a
at that
technicality,
point.
almost record-breaking amount of sacks.
Yeah. So, and Nathaniel Wilson, I want to get your thoughts on this too, because I know
Yes.
you're not a big football fan or Patriots fan, but did you watch most of the game?
We had it on. We had some other screens going. We were playing some video games, but the Super Bowl was on the TV.
I bet your video game was closer than the actual game.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would think so.
Definitely.
I will say this, though. Brian, maybe you agree with me on this one or not, but if you do like defense and you appreciate what defensive players do, the first half of that game gave you a lot because we did see 2 excellent defenses, and we got to give the Patriots some credit here. Their defense was almost equal to Seattle's defense, especially in that first half. Then things just got out of hand in the second half, and it was a runaway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fabulous. Christian Gonzalez, absolutely top 3, top 4 cornerback right now, made some just superhuman plays. It could have been a lot worse. I think he stopped, 2 touchdowns at the minimum. Kayvon Chase on the edge, been big on him all year.
Yeah.
Had that blindside sack on Sam Darnold.
At least one. At least they got one.
Yeah. So, all in all, there's a lot to be excited about. We were playing with house money.
Yep.
Again, in some
agree.
of the records set just in the season as a whole, we have the coach of the year.
Yep.
We had the assistant coach of the year, record-breaking turnaround from that 4-13 season to the 14-3, which was ultimately 17-4 if you factor in the 3 playoff wins. No one expected to be here at the start of the year, at the start of the season. So, going into the game, understanding that, Drake May, the offense, they were going to have the game of their lives to overcome the Seahawks. And it was also interesting too, say what you want about Chris Collinsworth or, the commentary of the game. I think they'd said, when you think about the Seahawks, especially being on the East Coast, it's not a team that we get to see a lot.
Right.
We do not get a lot of Seahawks games. And I don't know that a lot of us really understood how good they were, how good that defense was. It was certainly the first time I had sat down and watched a full game, with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
First, not that I get many games as a father of, 2 young kids to get a chance to sit down and watch the entirety of them. But yeah, that really was a dominant defense and just, a good defensive game. But I don't know. You want to see some touchdowns. You want to see productive offenses. I know Super Bowls aren't generally known for being the most exciting.
But, as badly as Drake May played, and let's face it, he did not play well. Didn't throughout the playoffs. He did, strangely enough, set a record. In the fourth quarter, he threw for more yards in a Super Bowl than any quarterback has ever thrown before in a losing effort. He threw for 235 yards in a quarter. I'm sorry, yes. Yeah. But that's amazing. He breaks that record for what it means, which is nothing, because the Patriots come up way short. But let's put the Drake May thing into perspective here. Second-year quarterback, still essentially, for all intents and purposes, kind of a rookie. And here he is playing in the Super Bowl, making it all the way through the AFC Championship game, all of that. I feel like he'll be back. However, possibly some warning signs, because as we saw in the introductions to the game, Dan Marino of the Miami Dolphins came out. Drake May is the second youngest quarterback to have started a Super Bowl. Dan Marino is the youngest. Marino played in 1 Super Bowl. Never made it back. You hope that doesn't happen.
Had a fantastic career, incredible career.
One of the greatest of all time.
Never made it back.
Yeah.
But part of me going into this, I can't believe I'm saying this, almost wanted them to lose. I feel like that could set up, this new, call it maybe version 3.0 Patriots, Coach Vrabel, Drake May, like put a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to come back, work even harder, and maybe set them up for a number of years of success. And hopefully this wasn't just a flash in the pan.
The MVP of the game was Kenneth Walker III, the Seattle running back. So it's not just their defense that's good. He ran for over 100 yards, I think 135 yards. Spectacular game for him. And we did get to see just how good that Seattle team is. The better team won. That's fine. I think that as crushing as a loss as that was for the Patriots, the folks who are really upset are Denver Broncos and Buffalo Bills fans. Because if you're a fan of those teams, you're thinking, we could have done better than that. We could have given Seattle a better game than the Patriots did. And, of course, the Bills, again, another crushing loss in their playoff. They came so close to winning. And Denver, you feel like they kind of lost to the elements as much as they lost to the Patriots in that AFC Championship game. Yeah.
Bad luck. We were talking about, in order to, I know a lot of people said the Patriots didn't deserve to be here, the easy schedule. I feel like if you go back years past, every year the best team doesn't always get there. The best team doesn't always win. There is luck. There are injuries. There is weather. It just takes a lot to get here. And then once you get there, as everyone likes to say, any given Sunday, anything can happen. And that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah. So
I felt like that was the only chance we had, that maybe, what Drake May, what version of the Patriots were we going to see? Regular season Patriots, where they're putting up 31 points per game, or postseason Patriots, which...
sack after sack after sack. I mean, I hope Drake May's okay for next season. He should be fine. I do want to check if we're getting anything going on in the chat, Nathaniel. Anybody showing up there?
Yeah, we have a little in here. There's some love for the Seahawks special teams unit as well, especially punter Michael Dixon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a number of times getting pinned, within the 5, the 4, the 2. Yeah, some incredible punts for sure.
Yeah, one thing that I was thinking about with this game is, as someone who follows the NFL more loosely, I feel like in these past few years, the seasons and the Super Bowl especially has been so defined by quarterback play, I feel like. There was the whole Mahomes Chief run and the AFC battles between the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens as well, and just the way that the best players in the league has thought of our quarterbacks and how they define the game and success. And it's interesting, I think, watching last night's game. Obviously, the news on our show is May kind of stunk it up, but it's not like... excuse me, what is the quarterback of the Seahawks?
Sam Darnold. Yes.
Yeah, it's not like he had a great game either. And so it's interesting. The Seahawks remind me of more of an old school NFL team where you almost build it in a way where it doesn't matter if the quarterback has a good day. I'm thinking about the 2001 Ravens-Giants Super Bowl where Trent Dilfer was the Ravens quarterback. He threw the ball 10 times.
You took the
and
words right
him
out of my mouth. That is who Sam Darnold was reminding me of. And, Seahawks fans can get as mad at me as they want about that comparison. Sam Darnold played a very good game. He didn't make any mistakes. He didn't have turnovers. He really played very well, but he was not the reason the Seahawks won. The Seahawks won because they were a total team and did everything on defense. They made all the plays they had to when they had to. I feel like you could have thrown almost any quarterback into that Seattle lineup and they still would have won the game.
Even Drake May?
Maybe not Drake May. No, I'm not going to be mean about that. Listen, Drake May has a fantastic future. The guy's 23 years old.
He was an MVP finalist this year.
Yeah, he was, and I still feel like he's an excellent quarterback. I do wonder, Brian, there was talk about Drake May maybe having a shoulder problem. He said he got an injection before the game. I don't think it really made a difference in the outcome, but do you think that he was playing hurt and that maybe he wasn't at his best because of that?
I'm going to tell myself that was it.
Or your friends in the chat who are giving you so much grief.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm surprised that Patriots hate in the chat yet. Yeah, it's hard to say because it really was the tale of two seasons. I mean, regular season Drake May was just fantastic. Yeah, there were a number of throws. Again, commentary during the game. The Patriot, they had their chances to at least move the sticks, gain some momentum, a few open receivers, not a lot of errantly dropped balls, but just missed throws.
Yep.
And again, I mean, how do you beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl? How do you win the Super Bowl? You attack the quarterback. You rattle their cage. You get them off the groove. You zero blitz, all out. And then again, that it speeds up their internal clock. And they're just a little worried every time they get the ball, and they go through things faster, and then they, get it out quicker, and they're not as accurate. And so, I mean, that's how the Giants got to Tom Brady those 2 years.
That is true.
I mean, this is a sports show. We have to say, it has to be said, defense wins championships.
Yeah, more often than not, that's going to be true. And I feel like Drake May has such a learning curve. He's got to learn so much. And part of what he has to learn is to recognize when it is time to get rid of the ball. Throw it out of bounds. Don't take that sack. Will Campbell, another young player, had
just
a
hold on
rough
to
time.
it. Or just hold on to it.
Or hold on
Because think
to it.
about how many times he was playing hero ball and in the pocket, collapsing, and he throws his arm back for the Hail Mary bomb, and so many strip sacks and just poor decisions. So I mean, we saw some an incredible improvement over the season. And I expect we'll see that in years to come.
Now, if you have anything, what were you going to say, Nathaniel, about the
I was
game
just going to
itself?
say that coming out of our show last week, I know that the storyline I was feeling the most excited about for the Super Bowl was Mike and the shirt that he had to wear. And so I know that we've got a Mike back there in the control room. I wonder if now is a good time for our buddies to share their thoughts about last night's game.
But Mike's not wearing the shirt of shame. Can we go to the control room? And
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you got me. Yes. Hi.
Where's the shirt, Mike?
So you know how you were going to ask the league if they could count that as an appearance for me as one of my 3 obligatory appearances. They said no, because according to the bylaws, I have to give 2 weeks notice.
That's not fair. If you folks, just quickly, if you missed last week's show, Mike is in a fantasy football league, and when you lose the league, when you come in last, there it is. There is the shirt of shame that you have to wear for coming in last. Again, I think Mike rocks that shirt. I couldn't pull it off, but you look great, Mike.
Oh, thanks, Mitch.
And so you've got to make 3 more public appearances with 2 weeks' notice to fulfill your obligation?
Yes, basically, I have made 0 public appearances. This is the second time that it's not going to count, but it's fine. It's good.
Mike, you've got to let them know that we barely had 2 weeks' notice to launch this show. And so I think they should just count.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So
you've got camera operators and, people from the crew on the show. So we're digging deep in the bench.
I want to ask Kyle Ambusk, who's sitting right next to you there, Mike. As an Eagles fan, Kyle, I know you were upset that your Birds were not in this year's Super Bowl. Were you taking any kind of Schadenfreude, glee at the Patriots' demise last night, or were you sort of rooting for them to win?
I gotta say I was definitely pulling for the Seahawks a little bit, but we talked about it last week, and a lot of you guys have gone over it thoroughly. But I just think the Seahawks were a really tough team to beat this week. They came in, pretty stacked on both sides of the ball, and it was going to be a tall task. So I think, as we saw, they came to play, and they did what a lot of people expected them to do. One other thing I was thinking about is the new era of coaching for both of these teams. It's kind of not the coaches we've typically seen from Patriots and Seahawks. You think of the Bill Belichick's and the Pete Carroll eras, and now we're kind of in a new era of these teams with the new Mike McDonald and the Mike Vrabel under helm. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of eras they continue with these teams, and how many more meetings they may find themselves in the Super Bowl, and what those coaches look like for the rest of their careers.
Any thoughts, you guys, on the coaching issue? Because, again, I don't think it would have made a difference in the outcome. Mike Vrabel was criticized a little bit for not going for 2 points, the 2-point conversion on the one touchdown that the Patriots were able to score. I don't think it really would have mattered too much in the game, but was that the right decision for him to make, to go for 1 instead of 2 there?
Yeah, hard to tease it apart. I'd just go back big picture. I think the strength of Mike Vrabel, he's a player's coach. He's a culture guy. He commands respect as, former player, Super Bowl champion. he seems like he just looms large, has this huge presence. Everyone respects him. I'm sure the guy, knows football. He's smart, but like, is anyone he's no Bill Belichick. He's not that like football tactician savant, who's scheming at halftime, making the necessary changes, trying to figure out where the wind is swirling and, where we want to be kicking field goals from at the end of I think needs to maybe like lean on offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators a little bit much. And again, as a longtime Patriots fan, Josh McDaniels fan as well, when your offensive line can't stop a 4-man rush, they're not even blitzing and they're getting to your quarterback. Like when you can't stop that, I don't know what play you can call to beat that. Certainly not one of his best games as well. But really hope, not sure what his contract looks like. Certainly hoping he comes back. I know in the grand scheme of things, he's still pretty young. Hoping for him to come back next season. Really excited for Terrell Williams to come back next season. He was their new defensive coordinator at the beginning of the season. He had come from the Detroit Lions, where the Lions had a really stout defense. But sadly, at the beginning of the season, was diagnosed with prostate cancer, had to sit out most of it. But he has now been declared cancer-free, and he was there, I believe, on the sidelines for the Super Bowl. Yeah. And again, really excited for him to get back. And I think together, those are 3 fantastic leaders, 3 fantastic coaches that together, hopefully, they can figure out that kind of strategy.
Yeah. I feel like the future is definitely bright for the Patriots. And, 29-13, look, if the game was a dud, though, the halftime show was a stud.
Well said.
I gotta say, folks, I was blown away by just immediately I'm talking about that Bad Bunny, of course, halftime show. For those who may not have seen it, the set design alone. They open up and it's like they transported that field, transferred it into like a sugar cane, out in Puerto Rico, recreated like a village with people and community and dancing and joy. I thought it was absolutely A+. What did you guys think of the halftime show?
I thought it was so amazing. I know I was the one on the show last week who was kind of downplaying my excitement about the game and about the halftime show. I think kind of as I got closer and closer to Sunday, I was feeling more excitement. I think like Bad Bunny is like the biggest artist in the world. And I just think it's so cool that the biggest artist that we have in music is from Puerto Rico. Yeah. And for him to bring Puerto Rico to the Super Bowl, to the biggest stage in the world, I just thought was so beautiful for me as like a young man who is also Puerto Rican, to see the scene of the parents and the child watching his Grammy acceptance speech from just a couple weeks ago, and he brings the Grammy to the boy. I was moved. Very much when I was watching that performance. I thought it was incredible.
Also, the scene of like showing folks at a wedding, that was a real wedding, it turns out. Those folks actually got married. Yeah. There was just so much joy contained in that. And we're not addressing to this point so far the elephant in the room, which is all the criticism that was built up. When the NFL announced that Bad Bunny would be the halftime show, there were a lot of people who were angry about that for whatever reasons they have, but I don't know how you could watch that performance, see the embrace of community, joy, folks getting together and just being together. And of course, the music was incredible, and not have a smile on your face. It was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, I think really what he focused on in his performance is so much of, I think, American ideals that we all strive towards, which is family, community, it's having a good time, it's being together. And I think so much of the noise around his performance in the lead up was about it not necessarily being American. And I think not only did he bring in so many of those elements, but also to shout out all the countries in North and South America by name and to challenge what it means to be an American on America's biggest stage, I just thought was so meaningful.
And let's not forget, Bad Bunny is an American. He's a Puerto Rican citizen.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. He is absolutely American. So, there was an alternative show. I know they called it the All-American halftime show or whatever, but this was All-American, the one that they showed at the Super Bowl. I just think it's remarkable to me. And, also, there were a lot of folks who were saying, the NFL has gone woke over that. I will tell you this, and this may be a cynical take. The NFL does everything for one reason, and that's money.
Yeah.
And they want to grow their league. They want to have it. That's why they have so many international games overseas. They understand that there's 70 million Latinos in America, and they want to grow that game. They want to eventually bring it to Latin America. That's their motivation. So it's not a question of woke or not. It's about money.
I mean, you don't just have a big Patriots fan here, but you also have a big Bad Bunny fan here as well.
Before
I really am one in a million here in Vermont. Not just the show, but the commercial, his commercial leading into the live performance was really moving, really beautiful. Just him dancing with people from all walks of life. Just it filmed in a really cool way, and then ending on the message of like the world will dance.
The world will dance.
And honestly, I mean, that is what makes me such a big fan, is that it's just impossible not to dance and like feel the joy from that music. And so, yeah, what an incredible cinematic spectacle, as we've talked about, like, over the last few years, these concerts and performances have just gotten bigger and bigger, larger productions. Where it goes from here, we shall see.
And this one just brought the joy. No
I
question
want
about
to say
it.
quickly, I know we're about to go to break, Mitch, but Puerto Rico is in the house. Lady Gaga, I thought, was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Awesome show.
Ricky
Much
Martin
better than
too.
the game.
Yeah, they brought it all. All right, we're going to come back in just a moment here on the Sports Report. Stick with us. Welcome back to the Sports Report. I'm Mitch Wertlieb, and we usually use this section of the show to chat about upcoming sporting events we're looking forward to. But this week we wanted to highlight one event in particular, the Harris Hill Ski Jump, which is set for this weekend in Brattleboro. I recently spoke with one of the event's volunteers. Let's take a look. For more than a century now, the Harris Hill Ski Jump in Brattleboro has provided thrills and sometimes spills for the folks who are daring enough to take to the ramp. And this year's event is ready appropriately enough for Valentine's Day to get hearts racing, February 14th. There is another day of jumping set for the following day, Sunday, the 15th. And joining us now to tell us more about the Harris Hill Ski Jump is Melissa Galati. She is a spokesperson for the Harris Hill Ski Jump. Melissa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I am so curious about this. It's such a Vermont iconic structure and event that takes place. But first, tell me, who is the Harris behind the Harris Hill Ski Jump? I've always wondered about that.
Oh, that's Fred Harris. He was an icon in the state of Vermont and was a jumper and a Nordic skier and created this jump literally in the middle of a cornfield nestled into some trees in Brattleboro next to the Brattleboro Outing Club, which he also founded. And his legacy lives on. His daughter, actually, Sandy, is part of the Harris Hill Ski Jump Committee and has, plays a huge part in the overall ski jump family. And we're proud to, showcase what he built.
It is amazing. And it's been around a long time, right? We're going back to 1922 when it was first built?
Yes.
Incredible.
Yes. Yeah.
How is the ski jump maintained year to year? Is it an all-volunteer effort?
We are all volunteers.
Amazing.
We have this whole posse of people that are just passionate about, continuing the legacy of Fred Harris and the sport of ski jumping, frankly. As far as maintaining it, in the summertime, there's a whole trail network that surrounds this ski jump, part of the retreat trails. It's those beautiful hiking and running trails. But what people do in the summer, you'll see them running up the stairs, up the steps, which is really steep. And, they'll get that workout that way. And then in the wintertime, the only time it's actually used at this moment is for the annual ski jumping event.
So if someone's coming to this year's event on that weekend of Valentine's Day, what are they going to see? Who's going to be jumping and what are they in for?
There are two different competitions technically. Saturday, and it runs, like the gates open at 9 a.m. both days. We have a lot of people that come and tailgate, like families that have been doing it for years, and they come and tailgate and they set up shop and they're there all day. But generally it's the day. So gates open at 9 a.m. Things usually wrap up around 3:30. And what you're seeing are jumpers from across the country that are junior jumpers. They're the ones that are up and coming, the ones that you're going to see in the Olympics someday. As a matter of fact, fun sidebar is 4 of the U.S. Olympic jumpers that are jumping in Milano Cortina jumped at Harris Hill.
I mean, imagine how cool it would be to say, I saw this person jumping maybe 3-4 years before they actually get into the Olympic Games. As you said, this has happened. It's kind of like the minor league system. It reminds me for baseball. You can see a player come through your town and then eventually they're in the big leagues. Just fantastic. How do folks get tickets for this event?
Well, they can do that right online at harrishillskijump.com and purchase them there. You can do it at the door or at the gate, if you will. There's parking at at Harris Hill. It's really limited. So if you can't make it in that way, we do offer shuttle buses where you can park and ride in, and then you can pay at the gate. We are doing cash or a QR code only for people that walk up. We're not doing credit cards on site. But yeah, harrishillskijump.com is a great, just go buy your tickets and bundle up and don't wear white and don't wear Uggs. We want you to stay super warm. That's what we say to everyone, because again, like I said, it's in the middle of a field. So sometimes it's really firm, sometimes it's not. So just be prepared for all the things, just like a Vermont winter.
Fantastic. Well, it's happening on Valentine's Day weekend, Saturday, February 14th, and Sunday, the 15th. Melissa Galati with the Harris Hill Ski Jump. Thank you so much for telling us all about this incredible event, and best of luck this year.
Thank you so much. Hopefully you can come down and folks that are listening can come and hang out with us. It's a really fun event. Thanks for having us.
And if you missed any of today's show, you can find it on our YouTube channel. You can also catch the show on Vermont Public Radio Monday nights at 8. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. Find out more about the Sports Report at vermontpublic.org/sports. And if you want to get in touch with us, send an email to sports@vermontpublic.org.